There was a time in the 90s and 2000s where a teacher would roll a big CRT television into the classroom, and this CRT television would be on a cart. And on this cart would be a VHS player. And if you were lucky, like me, one of those VHSs would be Twister. And that's how I experienced the first Twister movie. And it was a great time. A movie that had scientific elements to it, but also referred to real life disastrous events that took place like in the central US. It was a movie full of fun characters. It had an overall good time. You could kick your feet back, turn your mind off a bit, and enjoy the show. That's why I want to watch Twisters in a movie theater, to kind of rekindle that old fire and have that nostalgic feeling of watching a disaster movie in a big type of setting. And let me tell you, Twisters did deliver that type of experience. You have a cool, diverse cast, YouTube live streamers, fireworks and tornadoes, nods to the first movie, and even fire tornadoes. They really amped it up this time. Now I'll start off with the cast, and I'll be completely honest, I didn't know nearly anybody that starred in this movie. And I also have to say, it's kind of a shame that they didn't get Helen Hunt back in this movie, even for a cameo, because I thought she did a great job in the original, and I really liked her character. The one actor that did stand out to me was Glenn Powell, and he starred in movies such as Top Gun Maverick and The Dark Knight Rises, and I thought he overall did a great job in this. Also for the female lead, you have Daisy Edgar Jones, and I kept thinking at first that she looked like the actress from Stranger Things, Natalia Dwyer, if you remember her. But now that I look at them side by side, I could see that they look pretty different. Anyways, I think the rest of the cast is great. And like I said before, I like how it's a mix of different cultures and diversities. And I don't really know if that's the case in current day Oklahoma, if it's mixed and all that. But I would think from the 90s, things have changed. Moving on to the main storyline, this is pretty much a popcorn flick. You do have the main mission of them using Dorothy, which is a nod to the first movie. And Dorothy is pretty much a weather device that has these sensors inside of it. The tornado picks up the sensors, and these sensors deliver telemetry data about the tornado and certain data points and specifics and things like that. Also, you have Kate, who comes back into the fold of things after spending a long time in New York City working for Wall Street. And I don't want to go into spoilers here, but Kate's character has a lot of parallels to Helen Hunt's character in the first Twister movie. And I found that interesting. They both have faced some sort of trauma and difficult time, and that alludes to them getting back into storm chasing. But along with getting back into storm chasing, they start to develop ideas, and Kate develops an idea on how to basically kill the tornadoes. And this is where we start to get into that popcorn flick realm. It's like, okay, killing tornadoes, it's probably kind of far-fetched, I would think, right? But the way they execute it and deliver it is pretty good. In this movie, similar to the first one, you have two opposing factions, and Kate teams up with Javi, and they're backed by some big corporate company that has all this advanced technology to learn about the tornadoes and stuff like that. And then you have Tyler, played by Glenn Powell, leading the other faction, and they are just so over the top. They come in, windows rolled down, country music blaring, dirt kicking from the tires. They got cameras in their hands streaming to YouTube, and they're just like hooting and hollering at the top of their voices, just being completely crazy. And you're like kind of believed at this point to think that these guys are the real assholes of the film, and it really does feel like that. And like Tyler has this pickup truck that literally drills into the ground to stay in place, as the tornadoes come in for stability, basically. So while they're in the middle of a tornado, they could shoot fireworks into the cyclone as the fireworks go off and have a crazy show pretty much. And it's so ridiculous, but it's kind of believable because that's what kind of like people do for viral moments and YouTube videos, so to speak. So the lines they're drawing there is ridiculous, but kind of true in a sense too. But then it starts to really become fun. At least in my opinion, it's all like a light-hearted type of fun. They're not really hurting anybody. And you start to learn more about the group and getting more in depth about them. And they're not really assholes. Now you do also have the classic romantic angle arc in this movie. And it's kind of a love triangle actually between Kate, Javi, and Tyler. But in reality, it's more Kate and Tyler heavy. And I did find that mostly entertaining. And I found that those two characters specifically played off each other quite well. There were some odd occurrences and coincidences that happened. But again, this is a popcorn flick. Don't go expecting like deep writing like Shawshank Redemption or something like that. The writing that they do in this movie connects everything pretty well together, I would say. Then, of course, we have the actual twisters in this movie. And the twisters in this movie are badass. The CGI in this movie is overall pretty great. And I have to say, even in 1996, with the original Twister, the CGI was good back then too. There were a couple nail-biting scenes as well in this movie that had me at the edge of my seat. And the movie also wasn't afraid to kill people. Like a random person would just get swooped up by the tornado and like in the cyclone, and it wouldn't technically show them die because I think it's a PG movie, but you'd be like, okay, that person is in like a high velocity wind cyclone, they're probably dead, right? So there was that too. And hell, this movie even has fire tornadoes. That's right, you heard me. Fire tornadoes. And it's pretty ironic because over the past couple months I've been playing the game called Helldivers for PC. And in this game, Helldivers, you have fire tornadoes too, which are pretty like scary and lethal. So it just made me think of that, and it's kind of ironic, the parallel timelines of Twisters and Helldivers. And I forgot to mention that this movie kind of starts off in a mini movie with its own set of characters, plus Kate. And this is where you see the parallel between Kate and Helen Hunt's character, Joe, from the first Twister movie. And again, I won't go into spoilers, but I thought it was a really cool way to start the movie, and it really set the tone for Kate's character arc and the overall feel for the movie, I would say. Oh, and one more thing. I gotta say that the music totally slaps in this movie.
Watch out, Tennessee, she's drinking Kentucky. Good God Almighty, my baby's feeling country.
Now I know not everyone is a fan of country music, but I am. And come on, this movie is taking place in Oklahoma, the central of the U.S. There's tornadoes, fire tornadoes that is. You gotta have some levity of the country music blasting and having a fun time and just setting that type of vibe, you know? So my overall thoughts on Twisters is generally quite positive and good, I would say. It's a fun type of movie. It's that type of movie that I think is justified to watch in the movie theater, you know, with the big type of sound, big screen, you got people laughing, you just kick back your feet, turn off your brain a little bit. It's a good movie to watch with your friends or family, and it's just generally a fun time. I'm going to give Twisters a 7.5 out of 10. Pretty good movie, and hell yeah for fire tornadoes, brother. Thanks for watching. Take care. Peace.